Welcome to the Love to Mom podcast. I am Jerry, and as always, I'm joined by my very intelligent mother, Christy.
Oh my goodness. These wonderful, wonderful descriptions of me just have my heart fluttering. Thanks, Jerry.
Of course. Well, as the title says, we're following up our episode on Breakin with
Yes.
its sequel, Breakin to Electric Boogaloo. One that I was very excited for.
Yes.
Um, how were you going into it? Were you excited for Boogaloo?
Okay, so I invited my sister Kara over again because I was like, we watched the first one together. We should watch the second one.
Yeah.
So she came over and we were both a little like apprehensive
Mm,
because we weren't sure if we were going to like it or not. Neither of us really remembered it.
okay.
Um, So we did not have strong feelings one way or the other about it. I mean, we were excited just because of the characters and actually, it was kind of weird to have seen this movie so many years ago and then to be like, not know the next chapter. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
very strange. Anyway, so we went in a little apprehensive, a little like, oh, this isn't going to be as good as the first one because we love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of how we were approaching it this time. I was a little skeptical, but also kind of excited to see what it was.
Oh, okay. And how did it turn out?
We did not like it as much as the first one, if I'm going to be totally blunt.
Okay.
In fact, Kara said, "There's a reason we don't remember this one."
Wow. Okay.
It was harsh.
Wow. Well, I
Yeah,
thought
I
it,
will. Yeah, go ahead.
I thought it was pretty good.
Did
I
ya?
liked it.
Okay, how
Yeah.
did you feel compared to the first one?
I like it a little bit more than the first one.
Oh,
But it's not by very much. It's like
oh,
a little bit more. I like the tone of the sequel a little bit more than I like the tone of the original.
okay,
I feel like it's a better fit for this type of movie.
okay,
Um, and maybe it's because like we're so far removed
yeah,
from the era where I'm like, oh, breakdancing is that corny thing that like, people in like, I don't know, like in Times Square would do. And they're in like costumes. I'm like, okay, it's just this corny thing. Like it doesn't really make sense. I don't think of breakdancing as being this like really gritty thing. So like the more cartoony aspect of it, this feels
Mhm.
more like just like a stock 80s movie. Like the plot is just like so cliche.
Yes.
Um, but I think it kind of worked in a way.
Okay. That is
Um,
interesting to me.
yeah.
So, Kara and I, there were scenes that came up, and I was like, oh, I remember this. There were two things that actually stuck in my brain that I did not remember until I actually saw it.
Wow.
The
Can I
first
guess
one
one of
is
them?
sure.
Is it turbo dancing on the ceiling?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was one of them. Like, as soon as I saw that room, I went, oh my gosh, I remember this. So I don't know if maybe that was a scene that we did watch that particular scene over and over again because it was
Oh,
so unique and different for the time.
yeah.
That's the only reason I can think that particular scene, other than it was just very unusual for the time. The other thing I remembered was the girl that Turbo liked. As soon as I saw her face on the screen, I remember her. Oh my goodness. I remember as a kid, I thought she was so pretty. And so I remembered her. And I
Okay.
remembered the scene with the rotating room, but that was it. That is truly all I remember of it. And I think Kara was the same. I don't know that Kara remembered the girl, but she did remember the rotating room. That was
Sure.
such a unique. Of course, I had to do a deep dive on how they did it, but
Oh,
I felt like this one, the plot was weaker.
oh
I
yeah.
don't
100%.
and also um at some point there were so many things where I was like, why is this even in here? So I'm just going to give you a few.
Okay.
What the heck is the story with that dude that was the mime? Why is he in every single scene? What does that have to do with anything?
They had a mime.
It
You
was so
got to put
weird.
him in all the scenes.
It was so weird. He was in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, he was in Reading Rainbow. He was in
Oh.
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, nice.
I know. He was in Harry and the Hendersons, the classic
Okay.
Yeti movie. Um, anyway, I was like, why does this guy keep showing up? And actually, in the credits, they call him a magician, not a mime.
Well, that's just wrong. Does he do
I
any
know.
magic?
Not that I
I
remember
don't think
seeing.
so. Yeah, I just
No.
watched it yesterday. I don't remember any magic.
Yeah, I watched it yesterday too, and I don't remember any magic either. So I don't know why they called him a magician. We were perplexed by that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wondered if you noticed the person. I'm jumping into the people.
Okay.
The guy that played Randall. Do you remember Randall with the glasses?
Randall.
Um,
Oh,
like the lawyer-y guy.
yeah, the guy who works for the city. That's the
Hmm.
corrupt
Did you
guy.
recognize him at all?
He's so familiar. Like I feel like I've seen him in like 10 different things. He just seems
Yeah.
like character actor from the 70s
Yep.
and 80s.
That is very, very much on point.
Yeah.
So he was in Three's Company, Different Strokes, Murder, She Wrote, The Jeffersons, all those classic 70s, early 80s shows.
So mostly
But this
TV
is
guy.
what I wondered if you would recognize him from. He played Usher in Spaceballs.
An
He played
usher.
Darth Helmet's assistant,
Oh, the
number two in command guy.
he played that guy?
Yeah. Yes.
Man, those glasses really like
Uh-huh.
did like hit his face because man, I did not recognize him at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw him. I know him. And so,
Yeah.
of course, in the moment, I'm deep diving this. And Kara was too, because we're both addicted to IMDb. So we're
Sure.
both like Googling and trying to figure it all out. And yeah, it is his assistant.
Hmm.
Kara was explaining it. It's the scene where they're like changing the camera angles all the time. And he's like, what about this angle? And then he'd turn to a different camera or something.
And
That was how
Spaceballs?
to me. Yes.
Oh, I don't remember
I
that.
haven't seen Spaceballs in so long.
The one I is that the one where they have the VHS of the movie as they're doing it and then they're looking back at the
That's it.
camera.
I
Yeah.
bet that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what she remembered him from. But anyway, I was like, I know that guy. I know that guy. How do I know that guy? I was sad that James from the first movie wasn't in it.
Yeah.
I also, because then I thought, Turbo looks a lot older in this movie than he did in the first.
Sure.
But it was filmed within a year. They both were put out, or they both had a copyright of 1984.
Yeah, I knew that they came out like right after each other.
They did. They said that they decided to go ahead and, even though the script wasn't finished, they started filming dance sequences before the script was even done.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I felt like you could see a little bit of age on Turbo and a little bit on the little tiny peanut kid that's so
Oh,
stinking cute.
yeah.
Um, but I would have thought more time. Like that felt like a lot of change in them to see in such a short period of time. But yeah, they both had a 1984 release date.
That is interesting. I didn't
Yeah.
really notice. The only one I noticed was the little kid. I'm like, oh, the little kid's a little older. I didn't really notice that Turbo
Yeah.
looked a whole lot older.
I don't know. He had more of a mustache.
No, did
He
he?
had a little more lip hair. He had like the little baby mustache people get. He
Oh,
had one.
the Bruno Mars.
Yes. Yes, the Bruno Mars. Oh, yes.
Oh,
Yes. So the other thing that I had written down was, I was like, this is cringy. It's so cringy. The
oh yeah.
hospital scene was cringy.
Oh no, that's
How much it
awesome.
was cringy. Oh no, it was
That's my
terrible.
favorite scene.
What?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
I love the hospital scene.
Well,
That was
we're watching it. And I was like, this must be how people feel about watching musicals, where it's just so beyond reality.
oh yeah.
And for some reason, in a musical, I can absorb that better than I can that situation we had going on in the hospital, where it was so, I'm just going to take my cast off and I'm going to dance at this final show. And both my arm and my leg are great.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh man, I love that though. With like it was corny, but like it was fun. It was like, man, everybody's just having a good time. Where there's like
Yeah.
sexy nurses for absolutely no reason. and they're making a dead person come to life, and like like the surgeons are all like, "Oh no, we flatlined him. There's nothing we can do." And then they immediately give up as soon as the sexy nurses come around, and then they start dancing. And then the dead guy wakes up and starts dancing. It's awesome. It's like
Yeah.
that's what I love. I love this, like it's a cartoon.
It is a cartoon, and I think you're framing it that way
Yeah.
is right. I think because it is so different from the original, I had a hard time like switching gears on
Oh,
it
yeah.
because the other one was so much more based in reality, and this one was very much not. And even, the colors,
Yeah.
oh, I want my house to look like Miracles. I want that all the colors and it was so bright and pretty and oh I want that. It's so cool. But just the general vibe of it is much brighter.
Hmm.
There was a lot of red and black in the wardrobe, which
Yeah.
was fun to see that. So you're right. Even the aesthetic of it is very different than the first one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
um,
even though there's
yeah.
like no time in between like the production of the first and the second one, the first one
Hmm.
is so like early 80s where they're like still kind of washing off the grime from the 70s. And this one is
Uh-huh.
so mid 80s where everything is
Yeah.
super plasticky, bright, oversaturated, big neon colors, which
Hmm.
is kind of crazy. They both came out like the same year.
Same year. Yeah. Let me see if I can find this information because I had written down the, um, like how much it brought in.
Mm.
So, um, oh, that was, I wrote down they had raised $200,000. How much is that the equivalent today? Just over 600,000.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I looked
because that's
up.
what they were rotating
I
or
kind of
raising.
did some of that too because when the
Uh-huh.
rich dad gives them 50K, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, how much is that? And it was like
How much was it?
150. So
Oh,
it's like
okay. Yeah.
three times, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, that was I just needed to know that because I don't know, I just did. Okay, so when I went back and looked at this one, it said Roger Ebert gave it 3 out of 4 stars,
Wow.
which I thought was really interesting, and it was considered a commercial success because it made 3 times its budget
Yeah.
at the box office, but it was still less than half of the original.
Hmm.
So, it made 3 times its budget, but it brought in half the amount.
Huh.
So that first one must have been fairly successful.
I mean, they teased the sequel at the end of the first one. Do you remember that?
That's true. Oh,
Like
that is true.
right before the
Yes.
we didn't talk about that. Right before the credits, they're like, "Just you wait, Breakin'
I
2's coming out soon."
I forgot. Yeah, so they started work on that before they even knew how the box office was. They knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting to me. Yeah, I Roger Ebert sometimes surprises you because he was kind of stodgy
Yeah. Yeah.
sometimes. Although between Siskel and Ebert, I think Ebert had a little more quirky sensibility than Siskel did, but
You think so? Yeah,
Siskel always seemed much more serious.
I could
But
see that.
I don't know. So anyway, yeah, three out of 4 thumbs up stars, whatever he had going on there. But
That's really
yeah,
high.
I I was surprised. I think the key is exactly what you were talking about. The key is to approach it as a completely separate movie.
Oh yeah.
I feel like when you usually see a sequel, you expect it to have the same tone,
Mhm.
like Rocky or
Right.
Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever. But this was very different. The first, the first to the second was very different, and I just had a hard time. Like Ozone's face, he was doing those cheesy smiles, like, and I'm like, what happened? You were so
Yeah.
serious in the first movie, and in this one, he's like way over the top with his facial expressions. It just seemed like he was a completely different character. Kind of threw me a little bit.
Well, I mean, we did kind of talk about that in the Breaking episode where it's like
Mm-hmm.
he did not like this movie at all. Thought it like
No.
completely betrayed the tone of the first one, and like
Mm-hmm.
in the documentary, the Electric Boogaloo documentary, he says like I still cry about the
Oh,
second movie because he just hates how it came out.
yeah.
I couldn't disagree more. I really liked the second one. I think I don't know. I think, you got the message across in the first one.
Mhm.
uh, come together and dance, I guess is the message of the first one.
Yeah,
And
and
this,
the second one.
I guess, yeah, the
Same
message is
message.
basically the same, but
Mhm.
I don't know. I had a whole lot more fun with the second one.
Yeah. I think I wonder if I would have different feelings about it if I had seen both of them now.
Oh, sure.
If I didn't have emotion tied with the first one. Because I do love a musical and I don't mind cheese. Like
Hmm.
cheesy, great. Love cheesy. That is not a problem for me. I know a lot of people have problems with musicals, but I am not one of those people.
Mm-mm.
So why this bothered me so much, I don't know. But both of us, both Kara and I had the same reaction like,
Mm.
oh my gosh, what is going on? And I think it was just the change in tone
Yeah.
that really kind of threw us for a loop. Um, but I mean, the dancing again was fantastic.
Yeah.
She was a much better break dancer in this movie. I
Oh,
don't know if
yeah.
you noticed that.
Yeah.
That was a striking difference.
They
Her
didn't give her a lot
dancing.
though. I think that they like kind of tried to like downplay that because I wonder if there was some like reception at the time where it's like
Mm,
Turbo and Ozone blow her out of the water.
mhm.
So like I feel like she danced at the end, and then there was
Yeah.
like some scenes where she's teaching, but then other
Hmm.
than that, she's doing like fancy dancing,
Right.
the the stuff
But
that
when
she's
at the
trained
end,
for.
when she is doing it,
Hmm.
it looks so much better
Oh
than
yeah,
the first movie.
yeah,
The dancing she did, I feel like they gave her more dancing to do in this one. And that they actually put the camera on her every once in a while. Whereas before
yeah.
it was almost like the camera was trying to evade her.
Right.
This one I felt they didn't shy away from um like highlighting her. And I just noticed a huge difference. Her movements were much quicker.
Yeah.
Um yeah. That was noticeable to me. Okay,
Sure.
let's talk about the rotating room.
Okay, let's talk about it.
Is this the thing you were talking about with Inception? Because I've never seen Inception.
Yes.
I listened to the podcast from last week and I was like, what's he talking about? Inception.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's done the same exact way as it is in
Okay.
Inception. In Inception, there's a famous hallway fight scene where
Mm.
the hall is turning. So they're fighting
Hmm.
through the hallway, and as they're doing it, it's like they're having to
Mm.
like they're falling on the wall, and then they're going all over the place. And I
Yes.
think, I mean, they're both done practically, where they just
Yeah.
build a set on some sort of machine that rotates, and then they just
Mhm.
rotate it. But I
Mhm.
think the Inception one is just, it was constantly like slowly moving. But the one in
Mhm.
Breakin' 2 is interesting because I think someone was manually controlling it. Because there's times where like it was going like this way so that you could see
Mhm.
that he was like going up the bed. Or I guess this is mirrored for you, but it isn't for the podcast. So he was like going up the bed and then he's on the ceiling and then he goes back down. And then the room like goes the other way and then it
Oh.
stops and then it goes down this way. I'm like, that's interesting.
Oh.
It wasn't just like something that they switched and then it just like rotated until they pressed stop. It was like there was
That's
some
interesting.
sort of control going on there.
Mhm. I didn't
Um,
even notice that.
which I mean, very impressive.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that was yeah, it was obviously made an impression on me in the fact that like I didn't remember it until I saw the room and then I was like,
Oh
"Whoa,
yeah.
I know what's coming." We both of us were like, "Oh, I remember this." The camera was stationary in the middle of the room. So
Yeah.
that was the other thing they said that the camera followed the room. It was
Right.
mounted and stationary. Uh, there was a part at the end though when the girl comes in and
Oh,
how did they do that? I'm like, her hair is not up above her head. Like he was
right.
sideways or something. How did
Yeah.
they do that with her hair not being all wonky? I
I
don't know.
I don't know if you noticed this, but it's clearly a different girl.
No.
Yeah, I they didn't show.
When when she walks in
Yeah.
the room and she's just
So
standing by the wall.
yeah, so when she walks in, there's like that close up of her opening the door, and then you
Yeah.
see that it's her. And then like when she's like tied to the wall, you can tell
Yeah.
that like whoever it is just like, you know, latched in or whatever. But it's like it's someone else. Like they have like a completely different like body shape. And I'm like,
I didn't notice that.
that's weird that they had a stunt double for her, but not for
Yeah.
Turbo, and he's the one that's actually going around.
Yeah. Well, and um, why didn't her hair fall in
uh,
her face?
I'm
That's the part I
assuming,
couldn't figure out. She's got all this big, beautiful hair. I loved her hair.
yeah,
and and that was what I was trying to figure out was, well, if she is rotated, then how is her hair not like falling forward? I don't know. That was the part I couldn't figure out.
Yeah, I
I
don't
need to watch
know. It has to be like some like maybe just a lot of hairspray or something. I don't know.
it. Yeah, it
Uh,
was I don't know. It was interesting. Anyway,
that's
I enjoyed
interesting.
that. I enjoyed that. I did remember it was fun to see it again.
Yeah.
Uh, it really highlights his ability. I
Oh
think
yeah.
um, he's just so incredibly talented when you watch. I like that they gave him his own scene in both movies,
Oh
just
yeah.
because I just think he's so singular in his dancing ability, and his timing is good. Like he is his facial expressions. I just feel like some of the acting in this was so horrendous that
Yeah.
you could hardly take it.
Uh-huh.
But I felt like he he seemed pretty real. Like when he was doing his lines and stuff, he had good delivery. He had good timing. The woman that played Rhonda, on the other hand, was maybe the worst actress I've seen in my entire life. Do
Okay,
you
who's
remember
Rhonda?
Rhonda? Rhonda's the one that likes ozone.
Oh. Yeah, it's not
Oh,
great.
oh my gosh, it was so bad. It was so bad. I was like, I need to write her name down because it's so bad. I have to talk about it. It was bad. Oh shoot.
Yeah. I was like, okay, so that was something that confused me. Was that whole
Hmm.
thing was that so Ozone and Kelly are not dating at the beginning of this movie. Is that
Right.
correct? Am I
Yeah.
correct in assuming this?
Because she was in New York or something, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't she somewhere else?
I don't know. She was
And then
doing
she
something.
came home? Yeah, because he was surprised to see her,
Yeah,
and
but the very first scene that they get together, they kiss on the lips.
I saw that too. Just like, "What's going
So I was just like, oh, okay, they got together because they were kind
on?"
of
Right.
well, no, there was some chemistry from the first one,
Yes.
but then there's like this love triangle, and I'm like, they're smooching, like they're
Yeah,
together.
I know. Well, and then Ozone's or not Ozone, yeah, Ozone's like, "You have to leave me alone, Rhonda.
Yeah,
I hate you." Or whatever she said, her angry voice.
yeah,
Um Yeah, that was confusing to me too. I agree. I couldn't tell what exactly was happening because both of us, when they kissed, we were like, "Oh, okay, I
yeah.
don't remember that. I don't remember them being together." Oh, I don't know. It's so complicated.
I don't
It's
know
so
either.
complicated. I did make some notes about fashion. If you want to go over fashion really quick again,
Sure.
because I think this is interesting. So there was a lot of the checkerboard pattern, like what
Oh,
you see in
sure.
bands.
Mhm.
So much of that, which I thought was really interesting. And I'm also trying to keep in mind that this is all done within the same year because the fashion really did seem like it evolved a bit. Lots of studded belts,
Yes.
um, chain belts, studded wrist leather bands,
Yeah.
like
Iced tea.
lots of that. Yep. Oh gosh, he was covered. That whole outfit, that was something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
um, the headbands that the women were wearing,
Oh, yeah.
that was a huge thing in the early 80s. So then I was like, where was the last place that I really saw that featured? Last place I saw that featured was in the music video Physical by Olivia Newton-John. That song came out in
Okay.
1981.
Okay.
Um, so that trend was something that I think, if I remember correctly, kind of started with that video. That video was kind
Mm.
of a cultural touchstone of the time. So
Okay.
yeah, the headbands were killing me. And then so many Jerry curls. The
Oh,
last movie there were not as many. This time, like Turbo had his hair,
yeah.
um, and a lot of the guys did too. Um, so anyway, those were some of the big ones that I had noticed. But the other thing was when I'm thinking about the fashion, I was trying to come up with like, what does this remind me of? She had on a lace glove in one of the scenes, just on one hand,
Okay.
which of course makes me think of Michael Jackson with his
Right.
one glove. But it was lace, which makes me think of Prince and
Mm.
Purple Rain, and
Yeah,
because they
yeah.
did a lot of that like lacy fishnet sort of thing. So Purple Rain came out in 1984.
Okay.
Now, Prince made that popular before that movie was out. Obviously, Purple Rain was like the culmination or one of the big highlights of his. I mean, it was very much at like kind of the peak of his power. He
Hmm.
kept, he stayed up there, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah,
But before that, even his influence on fashion was pretty significant.
sure.
So the lacy one glove made me think of him. That was 1984, and then of course the scene where Little Pipsqueak does the Thriller dance
Yeah, yeah. I was
with
like,
the
can you
jacket
get
and the
away
whole
with that?
thing. I mean, it was spot on. It was the thing. And I saw him and I saw the jacket. Oops, sorry. And I was like, oh gosh, I think that looks like the Thriller jacket. And then boom, there
And
they
then
go
he
into the
does it. Yeah.
dance. Yes. So I thought that was interesting. There's some, you can see the influence of other music artists and music things of the time, which
Yeah.
probably is true of the last one. I think I just noticed it more this time because again, it was all new to me.
Mm.
So I'm looking at the like at the end where they were all wearing fluorescents. They were wearing red and black, and then they go and change, and then they come back out in all these fluorescent things. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, I love fluorescent. And yeah, but that very much is like, oh yeah, look, there's 80s fluorescent right there for you.
Yeah.
There's the Vans. There's the so they really did touch on a lot of different fashion trends of the time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean that red and black, that was prominent in the first one too. Like the whole end, like that show that they put on, they're all
It's true.
wearing, like Ozone has like a shiny red like trench coat on or a duster, and I'm like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I wish that he brought
You want
that
me to
up.
put that on your Christmas list?
I don't think I would ever wear it, but it is sick. I'm glad
It
that
is.
someone at one point was bold enough to make that
Yeah,
fashion choice.
yeah. And this time, did you see the ear band with
I
the?
did.
Well, I'm sure you did. You notice that it
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
band
I,
instead?
I was
Hmm.
paying attention to it this time, and there was
Yeah.
some shots where it was like a close up of his face, and then he like turned, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, that it's more
Yeah.
clear this time around.
Yes, and I noticed this time Turbo had one too. And
Yeah.
then did you see the necklace with the giant tooth? I have no idea what kind of tooth that was.
No.
It was huge. I bet the tooth was like 2 inches tall, 2 inches wide that he was wearing on his chest. So he had the tooth from his ear band and then the tooth necklace. It was
Oh,
snazzy.
I didn't notice that there were two teeth.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, 2 teeth. Yeah. The other thing that kind of made me giggle, we were laughing about is how her parents were not supportive. It kind of made me think of Bill and Ted.
Oh,
Bill
yeah.
and Ted's Excellent Adventure, where dad doesn't approve. Dad's like, Bill, no, Ted. It was Ted's
It was
dad.
Ted's dad. Yeah.
Ted, you need to do school, and or I'm going to send you to military school. And he's threatening to send her off to Princeton, and
Yeah.
she needs to get off the streets and stop hanging out with these hooligans. And then at the end, he sees her, and everything is well. And now he loves and supports everything she's doing.
Yeah.
That very felt very reminiscent of my old friends Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. But that dude wasn't dating someone that was or wasn't married to someone that was like 2 years older than Kelly. You remember that from Bill and Ted?
Yes, they went to high school together.
Yeah.
I can't remember oh shoot, I can't remember her name.
Missy, I think.
Yes, Missy. Missy, I mean mom.
Shut up, Ted.
Oh gosh, that's such a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Oh, I love that. That's really good.
I love
Yeah.
in oh, this is a little sidetrack, but in
Yeah.
Bogus Journey, I
Mm-hmm.
think because it's Missy marries Bill's mom or Bill's dad. And then in Bogus
Oh.
Journey, she marries Ted's dad.
No.
Yeah, it switches. Because I think Ted's like, I can't believe Missy divorced your dad and married mine. Like, there's like an
Oh.
exact, like, something like that.
I thought it was Ted's dad in the first one.
It was one of them and then it switches. I don't know
Yeah,
which
I think
one's
it's
which.
Ted's dad because Ted was more like, dude, that he
Yeah.
was
Well,
well,
no,
Keanu really embodied the thing. But then I think in this I think
I think it's the other way around.
you do?
Because Bill or
Uh,
Ted was the one that was giving him shit. He's like, "Ooh, remember when I asked Missy to the prom? Shut up, Ted." There's like that runner.
You might be right.
It's like the only time that Bill and Ted like fight is when
Is over Missy.
yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, you're right. There was no young mistress in this one.
Yeah,
Young
unfortunately.
no.
The movie
That's
could have done with some drama.
yeah, yeah, there was not a lot of conflict. I mean, I get
No.
we're fighting for this this community center. I like that. I like
Yeah.
that they have boxing and dancing and like
Hmm.
all of these things for these, young kids who are looking for something to do. And anyway, so yeah, I mean, I guess the plot probably isn't any more significant than the plot of the first one as far as
No.
the storyline itself. I mean, maybe it's even stronger than the first one, and I
What's
just am so wrapped up in it.
what's even the plot of the first one? There's like a dance off
Yeah,
between the rival gang,
yeah,
and then Kelly gets a show.
yeah. She wants to be a dancer, and she's trying to legitimize
Breakdancing? Is that the
breakdancing. They're trying.
plot?
I mean, you know what? I don't know that there really is that much plot. Now that I'm thinking about it, like the whole ending of it, where she is going against that other guy at that audition,
Yeah.
the bad guy. But yeah,
Oh yeah, there's like
maybe
that
there's
talent show thing.
yeah, and that's how they end up with the show at the end
Yeah,
because they're all auditioning for it and they're
right.
trying to legitimize breakdancing. Um,
I feel like that
yeah,
was something that was introduced like 10 minutes before, because I feel like most
yeah.
of the movie is like, we need to beat this other dance group.
Well, yes, except at the beginning when the guys come into her dance class
Oh, sure.
and the
Yeah.
bad guy is like, get out of my class. What are these guys doing in here?
Yeah.
That's not, you need to focus. You need to stay with me. You need to, whatever.
That's true.
And
Yeah.
then,
I am kind of, this is another thing that kind of confused me, because
hmm
when we are introduced to Kelly in the first one, she's working
hmm
a diner
yeah,
as a waiter.
uh-huh.
Um, why is she doing that if her dad is like a multi-millionaire that can just hand out 50 grand checks on a whim to save
Great
some
question.
community center? I don't
Yeah.
know. Seems like she should be a Nepo baby.
Well, maybe she wanted to be independent and didn't
Mm,
want to be reliant on dad's money. Or, I mean,
maybe.
he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who'd be like, go out and get yourself a job. He seemed like the kind of guy who'd be like, do what the expectation is,
Yeah.
follow the rules, live in the box,
Yeah,
you
go to
know,
school. Stop
go to
wasting your
school.
time with this dancing thing.
Right, right.
Yeah. I don't Are they even in the first one? Do we see
No,
Kelly's parents?
no,
Huh.
no.
That's a weird choice.
I agree.
Although, is she supposed to be like, she's a young adult. She's like in her 20s, right?
She was almost 20 and she was already washed up in the
Right.
first one.
Right, I remember
So
that.
early 20s. Yeah.
So
And so
then,
maybe she took some time off to dance. Maybe dad was mad because she's like, I'm not going to go to college. I'm going to dance. And so she had to support herself by working that
hmm,
job because he was mad because she wouldn't go to college.
that's interesting. Well,
I
I'm
don't know.
glad
I'm
you're
creating an
finding.
entire backstory
Yeah, I'm like, I'm glad
for you.
you're filling in all these plot holes.
I don't know.
I mean, it's a good enough
I
explanation, I
mean, it
guess.
works.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think my reaction was surprising to me and
Mm,
the like I said before, I don't have problems with musicals with dance numbers. Why did this so offend me that they're cutting
mm.
off his cast and he's dancing or
Oh,
why did that
yeah.
just drive me crazy that it because that's the genre. I mean, really, I
Mm.
even though there's not much live music in this one, I would really kind of consider it. Like if you're going to consider it anything, I would say it's a musical.
Yeah, it's
There's
a
production.
musical. Hmm.
So so why this one like I'd get so mad when they weren't following the story and in the first one that didn't bother me as
Uh-uh.
much. Um yeah, I just have to think it's all the memory of it, you know.
Yeah,
But
it's definitely nostalgia.
yeah, I think it has to be. Now, did I hate it? No, I didn't hate it. It wasn't and visually I loved it even more.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but
That
I
was
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like with the visuals, like compare Turbo and Ozone's room house from the first one to the second one. The first one's like
Mhm.
they're living in a shed. They're living
Yeah,
in
they
like
are.
some garage.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
now they're living in like I guess it's still kind of a garage, but there's like rainbow like paint on the walls and they have like a
Uh-huh.
giant skylight that Turbo can
And this
dance on.
cool was there a Murphy bed that came down and they
I
had
think
to
yeah, I think so.
they
Yeah,
pushed that
because
back into the wall?
Because when they dance with the Kelly doll, they they roll the bed up, which
That
that
was
was
such a
weird.
weird scene.
That was odd because like I noticed that was like the first time we see that, and I'm like, why do they have a
Yeah,
doll of Kelly? Because that's very clearly what it's like modeled after.
right.
And then they like have the scene where they're dancing, and then they fight over it. And then they end up dancing with each other, and Ozone has the weirdest face, like,
I
ever
know.
when he's
Yes.
dancing with Turbo.
Well, that's the face I think I was thinking of with the weird smile
Oh,
where he's like,
yeah, he's like
that's like the cheesiest, biggest smile
yeah.
you've ever seen. Like, what is this? What
There's
is happening?
there's that one, and then there's the one where they leave the dinner with the asshole fiance guy, and then they, like, turn, and then they have, like, the weirdest he has the weirdest face. I'm sorry, Mr. Ozone, but, like, don't try to
No.
do those.
Well, it's like in the first maybe smiling doesn't come naturally for him because in the first movie
Maybe.
he didn't smile at all.
Yeah, he's a serious
He was
guy.
very stoic. And so
Yeah,
then in this one we're getting these giant smiles. So I think it's not even just that it's a weird smile because it is a weird smile.
it
Like
is, yeah.
feels very fake and forced and over the top. But also because we spent in the entire first movie without ever seeing the guy smile. And now all of a sudden we've got these big, giant, cheesy smiles, which makes me think that this situation was very purposeful.
Oh,
The change
probably.
in tone. Yeah. Change
It
in tone
has to
was
be.
very purposeful.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Because I think I would have to see what even I don't know what came out in between this and canon films or what was going on culturally in between the production of the first two. But there has to be some sort of explanation.
Mhm.
Maybe Sam Furstenberg was like, I'm just gonna mix it up. I don't want to. I don't want to do anything too serious.
Use the same characters and totally change the tone, which
I
the dancing in it is still spectacular. And really, that's what people are there to see anyway.
I think the
So
dancing's better in the second one.
dancing was great.
Yeah.
Dancing was really, really good. How do you feel about nunchucks? And how about that there are nunchucks in both the dancing fighting scene at the beginning where we're having a dance off,
Oh, there is
and
nunchucks.
also Ice-T uses nunchucks to break LP records into little pieces. What is the story with the nunchucks? Why are they all over in this movie?
One second, I just need to see when the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles TV shows
Mm,
came out
good call.
because I have to imagine that it is because of that.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was
To have them in what? No.
well was it like was it just like because 80s TV shows it was just like the real Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
The only other thing I can think of would be Karate Kid.
Oh, maybe. Well, ninjas were just big in the 80s.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
the first wait, is this the first season? Because it's saying it came out in 87,
oh, really?
which honestly
Okay.
feels late. Yeah, no, the first episode came out in 1987 and then it ended, wow, in 96? Holy
Really?
cow. I didn't know it was on that long.
Uh, yeah, that wasn't really my thing. So my
Well, yeah.
brother was super into nunchucks. When he was a kid, he had throwing stars and he had
Yeah.
nunchucks
I knew about the
when I was,
throwing stars.
and I'm trying to think like what in the world would have been in the zeitgeist at that time. Karate Kid came out in 1984, the
Still,
original movie with Ralph Macchio.
yeah.
And there is a scene where he's training with nunchucks.
Yeah,
That
but
movie was huge.
yeah, but if it came
Huge.
out in 84, the
It was
production
that,
of
yeah,
Breakin was probably being done in 83.
83. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
I don't know. Where
was when did Three Ninjas come out?
what about Chuck Norris?
That would have been around the same time. Mid to early 80s was when that first
Okay.
started. I mean,
Yeah.
Canon, I mean, that's what they were making, was like
Mm-hmm.
big action
Mm,
movies. I think one of their first big hits was just a movie called Ninja.
mm.
So they were like
Okay.
riding, if they weren't like riding the waves, that they probably made it with like, we're
Okay.
gonna make ninjas a thing.
Yeah.
And I don't really know,
Yeah.
like, because the 70s had a bunch of like kung fu movies with like
Mm-hmm.
Bruce Lee and Jackie
Oh yeah.
Chan. So like, I wonder if it was just like, that's big. Just make more of it.
Well, the thing of it is that nunchucks take a lot of skill and a lot
Yes.
of practice.
Hmm.
And in that dance-off scene where they're under the bridge,
Uh-huh.
and the one group has the nunchucks, and then our heroes have the garbage can lids
As
as a
shields.
shield.
Yeah.
All three of them were pretty skilled.
Yeah.
Um, I think it was now I can't remember how many people it was, but anyway, they were all pretty skilled with them. I have to think that those people came in with the ability to do, but maybe not. I mean, it's possible they could have trained them on it. I
Yeah.
thought it was so interesting. I watched that at the beginning, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember my brother being super into nunchucks back when he was a kid, like
Sure.
super super into. And then so then I thought, oh yeah, that's just like a one off. It's their dance off scene where they get in each other's space. It's the weirdest thing. And then but then when Ice-T comes back later with them, he's breaking LP records with them. What is happening with the nunchucks? I don't understand what's happening
I
here.
didn't even remember that he was using nunchucks. I remember him
Yeah.
breaking the vinyl.
Hmm.
But how was he even doing that? Was he like actually like whipping it, or did he have like both of the sticks in his hand like that?
No, I think he was whipping it, if I
That
remember
seems
right. Oh,
like
now
the
I'm second guessing myself. But yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
I might have to go back and see. I might have been taking notes at the moment saying, what's up with the nunchucks? But I
I
don't
mean,
know.
it could very well be nunchucks. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
I thought it was.
I
Um,
was more paying attention to the giant spikes all over his clothes and the fact that he was breaking a record. And I'm like, why are you doing
yeah,
this? This
I
doesn't
mean,
make any sense.
it had a very, very, a, s- a very specific vibe.
Yes.
His outfit. I was like, what are they going for here?
Remember in the first one, he was like the clean rap guy.
Yes,
And I think
yes.
even in this movie,
Uh,
I think does he spell Love? He spells
yes,
something.
yes,
Yeah, he spells, and he's like, we need to get together. And he's wearing like
yes.
a punk rock outfit from the 70s. Like he's going to a
Oh,
Ramones concert. And I'm like, what are you
I mean,
doing?
he looks like somebody from the Village People.
Yeah.
With all
It's like,
yeah,
yeah, I guess it's like a caricature of like an actual like punk outfit.
yes,
It's
yes.
wild.
I know, I know. I loved the bulldozer driver. I wrote down this quote because it kind of cracked me up. The guy is driving the bulldozer, and he gets on there, and he's like, "You have to, keep going, keep going." And the bulldozer driver says, "We're not here to kill kids." It's like, what a line! We're not here to kill kids. And then, and then, what's the story with the guy with the weird mask?
That I have no idea. I
I
think it looks like a Jason mask from the
mm,
fourth Friday the 13th,
okay.
which well, I should just keep
I
my
mean, that
phone
wouldn't have
out.
been then. That wouldn't have been then.
The
That would have
fourth
been.
Friday, that
I mean, Friday the
uh
13th, wasn't that the 80s? I thought that was all the 80s.
yes, Friday the 1984, so I don't
Was the
know.
first one?
1984 was the fourth one.
Oh, it was?
But
Okay.
the mask looks very similar to how Jason looks in the fourth one. I don't
Oh,
The thing with the Friday the 13th series, and I know you're not familiar because those are not your types of movies.
yeah.
Jason looks insanely different in every single Friday the
Mm.
13th movie because they could never pick a design that they liked. And I think
Oh,
over time they kept killing him and bringing him back. So he like by the end of the movies, he's just a zombie. But like in the
oh,
fourth one, he's still like kind of a person. But that's the one where he slips and falls on his machete and it like goes through his face. So that's what it kind of looked like, but it could I have no idea.
I could figure it out, but it was in multiple scenes.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sort that situation out. I wasn't really sure what that was. Did you see the girl in the crowd that had a crazy amount of armpit hair?
Yeah, there was like a
The lady.
close-up on it.
I I didn't see it the first time through.
Oh.
My sister's like, "Holy crap, do you see the volume?" Like, it's not even that she had armpit hair. It was like so much armpit hair, like a huge big area of armpit hair. And so we rewound it so I could see it.
Yeah, I noticed it because it was
Oh my
weird.
gosh.
It was like them dancing and then it cut to like
Mhm.
a random crowd shot, but she was like right
Yep.
in the center of the frame with her arms
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, that's a weird choice.
Yeah.
Like, to have that be like the focus. Not saying that there's anything wrong with it. It was just like
No.
odd for the time, you know?
Odd for the time, and also, I don't think I've ever seen, even a man with that, like, so it's not the length of the armpit hair, it's not the density of the armpit hair. It is the amount of her armpit that is covered with hair. It was
Oh,
enormous.
I didn't notice the volume. I didn't go back and rewatch it though.
I did,
No.
because I mean, come on. But also that was very unusual in the 80s.
Yes.
Very, very unusual.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see if I had any other interesting little things here. Oh yeah, the dances with the dummies. Yeah, I did write that down.
That was so
Okay.
weird.
I noticed this. I don't know that you would have noticed this, but I'm gonna. Nobody in that movie was wearing a bra. We had boobs flapping all over the place in the wind.
I
That was the topic of conversation between me and Kara. Was
oh,
like, nobody's wearing a bra. What is going on? Why is no one wearing a bra? I don't know if you noticed that or not,
I did
but it
not.
was. We were both like, oh wow, no bra. I don't know. It was just something we noticed, which also would have been weird for the time.
Yeah.
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 Anyway,
I think there was like some I noticed where it was like uh I feel like the first time we see Kelly, she's wearing like a really revealing top with no bra and I'm like that's a
yeah,
weird choice. Like just
yeah,
come out
right.
swinging, I guess.
Well, and that's where we noticed it first, was at the very beginning. And so then once you see it and you notice it, then you
Yeah.
notice it all the time. But let me just say, as a woman, dancing like that without a bra on would not be a pleasant experience. So I frankly
Oh.
am surprised that, especially, yeah, it was like crowd shots and stuff
Mm.
where, gosh, that
Oh,
would be
really?
really uncomfortable. Yeah. Like it wasn't just her, it was extras. And, there were just a
Mm.
lot of scenes that it was really noticeable. And I was like, that cannot be comfortable. That hurts me.
No, it's probably not comfortable. But the one thing we know about sets and how that went on Canon films is that they were very not great to work on. And
Oh,
I bet
really?
I think Sam Furstenberg's probably a creep.
Mm,
That's my guess.
that's too bad.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
No judgment on people who don't like to wear bras. That's totally up to you. You can or you can't. It was just something I noticed where I feel like you don't see that very often in movies where it's noticeable. It
yeah,
was just very noticeable. And especially for dancers. It's one thing when you're wearing a leotard or something because things get smushed down, but when
sure.
you're not wearing a leotard and you're dancing, it would not be very comfortable.
No.
So, um
Hmm.
yeah, it was a choice. I don't know
It's
what that was.
it's an odd choice. Yeah, I have to imagine that that's creepy reasons.
Mm,
That's my only guess.
well, I don't like to think about that.
Well, then we can just move on. Did you notice that when Turbo fell down the stairs, it was like
Oh
a
my
6 foot tall football player that was?
I also made a note of that. I was hoping that you you would notice it.
For some reason, I noticed the stunt doubles where I'm like, what? That lady that was in the room, clearly not the girl that Turbo was into. And then
Yes.
Turbo, like you said, he has the Jerry curls. But
Yep.
when he falls down, he turns into a linebacker who has like short hair.
I know.
And I'm like,
I
what's
noticed
the
that
deal
too.
with that? And then like he gets up and he has like a scrape on his forehead. He's like, oh, and I'm like, that wasn't you.
Oh. And then he ends up with his arm and leg in a cast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, which
Yeah,
he
that whole
removes, and that's awesome. I That was very reminiscent of Fast and the Furious 7?
Oh,
That
okay.
my favorite one because it's so stupid and I love it.
Mm,
There's a scene in that. I think The Rock gets into a prison fight in that one, which by
uh-huh.
the way, awesome fight scene because he's like
All right.
he's punching through concrete walls and it's like
Oh, wow.
so unbelievable. And I'm like, this
Yeah.
is awesome. I love seeing The Rock do this. And then he's in the hospital for like most of the movie because he didn't want to show up to set for most days.
Oh my
Because, well,
gosh.
because he and Vin Diesel have a huge
Oh,
feud. I
I've
don't know
heard
if you
that.
know that.
I feel like I've heard you talk about that before, but I've never
Yes.
seen any of those, so I don't really.
Don't waste your time. None of them are worth it. But uh, except for I like the seventh one. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
but
I
yeah.
remember listening to you go through all of them. I enjoyed it. Your little recaps.
And I think, yeah, Vin Diesel and The Rock had a feud. I think it might still be going, where they're like, they don't want to be in the same scene together. They don't
Mm.
like each other at all. I think, and I don't know if this is true, but there was a rumor where, like, in The Rock's, or maybe, no, I think it was in Vin Diesel's contract, is that he couldn't get hit more than The Rock because he didn't
Oh.
want to, like, and I think that there's a thing in Vin Diesel's contract in these movies anyway, where it's like, I can't lose a fight.
Mm.
He's very, very, he has like
That's
some, he has some self-image issues, I think,
yeah, I think so.
because he's like, he's very insecure. He's like, I don't want to be
Well, we
weak
know The
guy.
Rock isn't because he's willing to be the tooth fairy
Ah,
and be in like a tutu and like he's like seems game for whatever.
The Rock is a
You know?
delight,
Yeah, I like him. I
but,
love the movie The Tooth Fairy. That's so good. Okay, go ahead.
but
That's
the,
such a good movie.
I'll add it to the list.
Have you seen it?
Oh,
You've
I've
seen
seen
it.
it so many times. Yeah.
I loved it. We watched it on our way to we watched it on our way to Iowa City when we took you and your sister and that was the time where we went to the mall and she skated over your hand with her ice skates.
Not my hand, her hand.
She skated over her own hand?
Yeah.
Oh, that she skated over your hand.
No,
Okay.
I only
That,
remember that
that's right, because
story.
she had a white sweatshirt on. That's
We both got new hoodies at the mall.
yeah,
I got a blue one and she got a white one. And then
with
she's
hearts on it.
with hearts and rainbows and stuff on it. And then she
Yeah,
skated over her hand and it got covered in blood.
I do remember that
And
now.
then we went and saw the movie Return to Witch Mountain with The Rock.
That's right. There's your through line.
Yeah,
But we
there we
also
go.
did watch Tooth Fairy on the way there. I do remember that.
I feel like we watched The Tooth Fairy all the time. It was just one we
We
had in
watched
the car.
it was so good.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved that one. The tall, skinny guy. What's his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, I love him.
He's in,
British.
yeah. He's in other I forget what else he's in. He's in
I
like
don't
some
remember.
other big movie. I
I
don't
really love
remember.
he. He's great.
He is great.
He's good in that movie. Okay, sorry, we really got on a tangent on
But
that.
anyways, The Rock
Thank you.
in
Yes.
Fast and the Furious 7, he's in a hospital and then the big bad guy starts blowing up the city. And in the Fast and Furious movies, The Rock plays a Fed who eventually turns into I don't remember. It doesn't matter. He's a government agent, and so he's like, I need to save my city. And he has his arm casted up because he was in a big fight, and he flexes so hard that the cast gets removed, and then he goes and fights the bad guys. And so
Wow.
it reminded me of that, even
Yeah.
though in this movie it was less effective because he just cuts it off. And
Yeah.
I would have much rather in the hospital scene, which is fantastic,
Uh-huh.
if in that scene he gets the fever and he starts dancing, but he can't dance because his casts, and then eventually
Yes.
he dances so hard that the casts fly off, they get shredded to pieces, and then it's
Oh,
the power, the healing power of dance that
oh,
breaks him free.
what a message.
That really would have gone a long way, I think.
Oh, I feel like I've seen something where something similar to that has happened.
Oh, I'm sure. I don't think that's an original idea by me.
No, you know what? The when you were talking about the stunt double that is Turbo,
Uh-huh.
it makes me think of Naked Gun. Don't they do
Oh.
that a lot in Naked Gun with Leslie Nielsen, where they'll have this this person is a stunt double who looks nothing like him, and then he just pops up and stuff.
Those are the best bits because then like
Mhm,
oh man, I've only seen the first one, but in the first
mhm.
one, he's like sneaking around the bad guy's office, and I think like the I don't know, the second in command comes in, and then like he has to do like somersaults and flips over the couch, and it's like very clearly another person. So
Uh-huh.
like he'll like flip over the couch, and then Leslie Nielsen will pop up. So it's like, oh, it's all done like in
Yes.
one take. It's perfect.
Yes, yes, I love it. I love it, over the top. But
Oh,
yes, absolutely, that guy going down those stairs. And it also every time I see something like that, I am in awe of stunt people
oh
who
yeah.
do that kind of stuff. How in the world do you train yourself to go down concrete steps
Because
and
yeah,
not bust
those
your
real
head?
steps.
Yes, it's unbelievable. Those people, that's just they are brave souls. They are
Yeah,
very brave souls. That is really unbelievable to me.
it's a lot of training. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
sure if you watch it, it's a lot of like he's just kind of like
Mm,
rolling on his side. So he isn't
mhm.
really like getting any sort of like big injuries. The
Right.
way he's falling is very particular, but
Yeah.
uh
I
I
wouldn't
don't
wanna
know.
risk it.
Well, yeah, that's
You
true.
have to be brave. You have to be brave.
That's
I
true.
am not.
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to fall down some stairs.
No. So I need to know on, what did you give it on Letterboxd?
Two
What
and
was
a
your
half
rating?
and a heart. I like it. It's not a good movie. It's not a bad movie. It's not a great movie. It's exactly in the middle, but
Yeah,
I like it.
okay.
What did
I
you
think
rate it?
I think I gave it 2. I think I gave it less stars than you did, which is crazy to me.
What?
I know. Nope, I did 2.5 too.
Oh,
No, that's
nice.
Jerry. That's Jerry.
Oh, that's
Ignore me.
me.
No, I didn't. That's yours.
What did you give it?
I'm trying to find it. Oh my gosh,
I
where
think
on my
I
list?
saw that you gave it 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I saw that you rated it before me. And so like when you were
Oh,
oh no, you gave it 2. You
I
gave it
did.
2.
I gave it 2. And you gave it 2.5.
I did.
And I gave the other one 4.
I gave the other one 2. I
Oh gosh, I can't believe I gave it 4. But that's okay. It holds a place in my heart.
That's a yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, there were definitely things I really enjoyed about this. But yeah, I don't know.
I loved a guy who owns Miracles or runs it. That guy's the best.
His name is Byron Smith in the movie.
Oh.
I work with someone named Byron Smith.
Oh.
Like, all through the movie, they were like, "Byron, Byron, Byron." I'm like, "I know Byron. I know Byron, who works for me. I love Byron." And then it was Byron Smith in the last scene. I was like, "Byron Smith, no Byron Smith." Yes, I loved him too.
He
He
just has
kinda
a great
mumbled a little
voice.
bit. Yeah, he d he does have a great voice. He didn't he was kinda mumbly sometimes. I had a hard time, but he
Oh.
just had such a sweet spirit about him. I really
Yeah.
liked him.
I
Yeah.
forget. He's in another it's it I think he's in Ghetto Blaster. I don't know if that's a canon
Oh.
movie. But that's another like B movie from the 80s. I think yeah, cuz I think Red Letter Media reviewed that movie and he's in
Mhm.
it. And I think someone murders his cat and he goes, "What are you doing with my cat?" And I just like I always remember exactly how he says it cuz it's like
Uh,
he says it like 3 times.
aw.
And so when he showed up, I'm like, "Oh, it's the cat guy."
Alright, I have one more thing that I just remembered.
Okay.
Some of my favorite lines included the term "whacked."
Oh, yeah.
Did you
Yeah, they
notice
say
the use of
whacked a
the
lot.
Okay, I wrote down 3 quotes. "It's whacked. Girls are whacked. You guys are whacked, man."
Who says
It made me
girls
laugh.
are whacked?
Girls are
Oh, does
whacked.
Ozone say that? That Ozone says that about Rhonda. Cause, cause, cause
That makes sense.
I think that's when when like Rhonda's like, Ozone, kiss me. And he's like, nuh-uh, I don't want to see you ever again. And then he's like, girls are whacked when they're back at their playroom
Oh,
before
yeah,
they start dancing with Kelly doll.
that feels like the correct, context. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just got a kick out of it because I kept hearing it. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to start writing down slang. But by the time I was going to start writing down slang, I didn't hear much after that. So
Yeah.
that
Whacked is pretty much it.
was pretty great. Girls are
Oh,
whacked. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, that's it. Yes.
that's
Yay.
Electric Boogaloo.
Thanks for being game for watching that.
Oh, it's
With
fun.
me. That was fun.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Well, it was, yeah, it's a good movie.
It was a movie.
I'll say that.
It was good. Yeah. If I were rating it on dancing alone, I
Oh,
would have
yeah.
given it maybe 4, 3.5 or 4.
That's fair.
But yeah. Without it, then I have to go to. I can see doing 2.5. 2.5 is reasonable.
It's right in the middle.
Yeah, that's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
I just am surprised I rated it lower than you did. I figured you would rate it lower than me, so that's surprising.
I'm kind of surprised by that too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know. You didn't like it, but I was half expecting because your scale, you skew positive. So even if you don't like something, I kind of expected you to give it 3 stars.
Yeah.
Because when you give something like 3 stars, 2.5 stars, I'm like, oh, you hated it. You didn't like it at all.
Well, and now that I'm thinking about it, 3 stars probably would be the more appropriate rating. I think I was just mad when I finished watching it.
I'm not trying to sway you.
Well, no, I mean, if I think about it, I think it was my disappointment that's skewing my number because
That's fine.
it was just so different. Well, it makes me sad to give it 2 stars.
I gave the first one 2 stars because I was disappointed it wasn't fun enough.
But you tend to be a harsher critic than I do.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, there are things that you were like, yeah, I really liked it. I gave it 3 stars. I'm like, that's not you really liked it. If you really like it, you give it 5 stars.
Oh, no.
4.5 stars.
I think there's under 30
like you're
movies that I've given 5 stars.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
But, well, maybe it's 30 now because I just bumped Princess Mononoke up.
Right. I think when it comes to rating books, a 5-star is rare for me. It has to be exceptional. It has to be something that I would recommend to people that I feel like I will remember this for a long time, or something that did something really different.
Sure.
Like a seminal. So it may not even be that it's a 5-star book for someone else. Just there was some reason for me that it was just spectacular. If I like a book and I like really like it, 4 I think is my most common rating.
Okay.
I have to really not like something to give it a 3.
Really? A
Yeah.
3?
I know. I'm just very generous with my ratings.
A 3 is better than average.
Is it? Out of 5? Isn't 3 smack in the middle?
No, 2.5 is smack in the middle. I guess if you're doing if you're
0?
only doing whole numbers and you're not doing halves,
Right.
then 3 or 2.
Yeah.
But 2.5 is dead in the middle.
I always think of a 3 being in the middle, and I'm like, meh. 3 is like a meh. If I really hate it, it goes 1. Really, really hate it. Like, makes me so mad that I talk back to my book. That's a 1.
Oh, yeah.
But movie-wise, do I have any 1 stars? I don't know. I'll have to go out and look at Letterboxd to see if I have any 1 stars. I probably do.
I'm sure you do.
I bet like Nightmare on Elm Street or, something like that. That just was not for me.
Yeah, let me see. Well, you have 0 half stars.
Okay.
You do have a couple 1 stars. Let me
What
see.
are my 1 stars?
Let me filter by your rating lowest.
Yeah.
Your 1 stars. Okay, these all make sense.
Okay.
Oh, one of them's kind of sad. Well, all of these are kind of sad because these are all pretty good movies.
Okay.
Well, The Shining. I gave 5 stars. I think it is one of the best movies of all time. Clockwork Orange. I'm right there with you on that one.
Oh, hate that one. Okay.
Halloween. Maybe
like
one
that
of
one.
the best slasher movies of all time.
Mhm.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you see a common theme?
I'm starting to notice something. A Christmas Story.
Oh, I hate that movie. That is a controversial take.
No,
I know that people will be upset about that because people who love it really love it, but I do not like it.
I just watched it for the first time. I think it was right before Christmas this last year in 2024.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like it either, and I was going in with an open mind
Yeah.
because the whole time while I was raised, you and Dad both very negative on
Yep.
Christmas Story.
Yep.
Um, so I tried to
But
go in with an
Grandpa
open.
Olson loves it.
Yes, my grandpa loves that.
Oh my gosh. We'll watch it all day. Whenever it's on TV, he'll watch the marathon all the day long, and I
Yeah.
hated it.
Yeah,
Oof.
I can't get in. It's fine. It's not as bad as I think you and Dad paint it to be, but it
Yeah.
also isn't as good as everyone says it is either.
There's something about it that feels unnerving to me.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
like slightly off kilter. There's something about it that uh feels like a Tim Burton movie to me. Tim
Mm,
Burton, like when I watch Tim Burton stuff, his style
yeah.
it makes me feel on edge. And for some reason that movie, I don't know what it is.
Huh.
I just it makes me cringe on the inside. I don't know. I just don't like it. I
I
don't
can
like
kind
it
of see
at
it. I just think for me it's such a novelty.
all.
And I
Mm-hmm.
think we're like seeing this now where it's like people are making movies set in the 2000s. Like Y2K just came out,
Mm-hmm.
big turn of the millennium movie, or Dee Dee. We saw that together,
Mm-hmm. We
where it's
did.
like the late 90s, early 2000s nostalgia is back. And all of
Mm-hmm.
these movies are like, remember AOL? Remember MSN? Remember when Bill Clinton
Yes.
had Monica Lewinsky? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, we remember. But
Uh-huh.
Christmas Story is that, but for the 50s that was made in the 70s. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of quaint to watch this
Yeah.
now, where it's like, oh, remember the 50s? Remember the riding with the top down and listening to radio shows with Pa. And I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, I remember that. That's fun. It does kind of
Oh.
like age the movie terribly,
Mm-hmm.
in an interesting way, which I don't really know what makes that different than like a period piece. Something that is like straight up like this is a movie set in the 60s instead of
Mm-hmm.
like a movie made in the 80s that is supposed to be playing to the nostalgia of the 60s. I don't
Yeah.
really know what makes it different, but Christmas Story fell into that where I'm like I have no nostalgia for any of these events, so
Yeah.
everything about this movie falls flat because it's like playing to 40-year-olds who are supposed to be watching it and being like, I remember that. That was
Well,
awesome.
and yeah, I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe that's it for me and why it doesn't resonate to me
Mm,
because I was not around in the 50s. And
yeah,
so, maybe that's why grandpa likes it because it makes him
probably.
feel probably see stuff from his childhood.
Yeah,
And so he gets the warm and fuzzies over it
right.
because it's nostalgic for him.
I'm sure. I'm
That
sure
could
that
be.
that's a thing. And
Yeah.
also, there's no black people in that movie. Just something I noticed.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
Yeah.
maybe you wouldn't want like if it takes
Well,
place in
that
the
would have,
50s, like I
yeah.
don't
Well,
think
yeah, that
uh,
would have been a very different.
that would have been odd. Well, yeah, whatever. It just would have been a weird angle.
I mean, you'd have been in Jim Crow times, so that would not
Yeah.
be.
It's like, remember the 50s, remember segregation. That would have been a
Uh-huh.
weird tone. And I think that that movie would have been not as beloved.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. Is
but
that my last one? That was a 1 star?
you have one more.
Is
Do
it?
you know what it is?
Is this the one that breaks your heart?
Well, it doesn't break my heart, but we did watch this movie together, and it is
Oh
kind of
no.
sad.
Oh no.
I
It's
don't
not Doctor Strangelove, is it?
no.
Okay.
No, it
I
wasn't
watched
for the show. It was for Simeon Summer. Last year for the Boy Time podcast, it was Every Which Way But Loose. You have that in
What did
this.
you give it?
I don't know. Let me see. What did I give
I
it?
mean, I bet you didn't give it much more than that.
Oh, I also gave it 1 star.
I was gonna
Whoops.
say. Because it
Whoops.
wasn't good. But again, that was one. Now that's an interesting situation because that was nostalgic for me too. Used to be on HBO all the time when I was a kid, and we
Yeah.
loved that stupid orangutan. And I had so many fun memories of it. And then we went back to watch it. I was like, what is this? That
This
is one of
weird
those cases
Nazi.
where you go back and it was just I felt so sad because it was not at all what I remembered it to be.
But
So
Breakin' was
that
not one of those.
no, oh, it was everything I hoped and remembered, and it was great. But yeah, the what one was it? Every Which Way But
Every way,
Loose.
but yeah.
Yeah, that was one where maybe that's where you're seeing some of that disappointment come out in my
Mm,
score. I was just so looking forward to it, and
that's fair.
it was sad, but it's
those,
fine.
those are all your 1 stars. Your
Okay,
lowest rated movies.
that's not as many as I thought it might be. As far as like,
No.
I mean, the ones that are there make sense to me.
Yes.
I really don't like horror movies. We both know that, so that's not a big surprise. Um, The Shining is just disturbing. I can appreciate the filmmaking. I can appreciate the performances. I get all of that, but
Sure.
ew.
Oh,
I
yeah.
do have a tag on there that says I will never ever watch this movie again. I
I
think that
think
was
so,
a
yeah.
tag that I have, and I'm pretty sure that tag is on all of those.
Oh.
I don't know. I'll have to check out and look.
Well, that makes
Uh,
sense.
anyway, yeah,
Well, those are
yeah.
your not likes.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Do you have a lot of not likes? You can't have that many, do you?
Uh, I don't know. I think for half stars, those are pretty rare. I maybe
Mm,
give out one of those a year, but
okay.
I have 19.
Oh, okay. That's more than I thought. But you do watch some stuff that's a little more edge, like on the fringe.
Well, I watch terrible things on purpose
Yeah,
because I like doing that to myself.
sure.
Um, yeah, these all make sense. I don't really
Yeah.
know if I want to go. A
What's
lot of
the
these
one?
are trash.
What are the ones you used to watch with your friends that with the purple? It was the Hulk, but he was
Oh,
purple.
The Amazing Bulk.
Yeah.
That is a half star.
You gave it a half star,
Yeah.
even with the nostalgia of it.
Oh, it's a terrible movie. We watched it because it was terrible.
I know.
It's not. I think like The Room or something is rated higher. I think I rated Troll 2, which is a notoriously terrible movie.
Uh-huh.
I think I may have given that 3.5 to 4 stars
What?
because that is one of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen.
Jeez.
We might Troll 2 might be a good one to watch on this show actually because that would be fun.
Oh, okay.
Um, Something that you need to know about Troll 2.
Yes.
Well, it's not a sequel to Troll. Are you familiar with the original Troll?
No, not at all.
Okay, Troll was a moderately successful movie,
Hmm.
which means that there were roughly 6 movies named Troll sequels that were not made as Troll sequels, but were just named that so that they could make some money.
Okay.
Troll 2 was made by a crazy Italian guy um, who I think he didn't really know anything about American culture, but he really tried. Um, and so it's about like this family road trip. They're going on like a house exchange program, which I've never heard of anything like that.
No,
Where like you
no.
go on vacation to one person's house, and then that person goes on a vacation to your house while you're there.
Oh, it's like The Holiday with Cameron Diaz and Kate Winslet,
It's just like
where
that.
they trade houses. Okay, yeah, okay,
It's just like that, except
yeah,
the town that they go to is called Nilbog,
okay.
and it turns out there's goblins afoot, and
Oh,
they eat people.
oh no. You really think this is a good movie for me?
Oh, it's there's no blood in it.
There's okay,
There's
okay.
green goo. If you're squeamish around green goo, then maybe Troll 2 is not for you. But
No.
to my knowledge, I don't remember any gore.
Okay.
But there's goblins, and there is like some of the best line delivery I've ever seen is in Troll
Huh.
2, and it is because it is delivered terribly. Um,
Did you watch this for Bad Movie Night?
yes, yeah, it
Okay.
is like it's up there. Like people talk about like, oh, it's The Room and Troll 2, two of the worst bad
Okay.
movies ever.
Hmm.
Um,
All right.
there's even a documentary about the making of Troll 2 called the the what is it? The Best Worst Movie, I think.
Oh, okay.
And that documentary is kind of interesting because it follows that director around. And like that director, I think he goes to a screening It's not good.
Oh
He was like, I made the
no.
masterpiece. I'm so
Oh
excited to see my
no.
my vision. And then he goes there and everyone's laughing at all the stuff that's supposed
Oh
to be scary. And then he's like, and then they do like it's like messed up because then they like stick a
sad.
they get him in the car and they stick a camera right in front of him. And he's like, I
Oh.
am heartbroken. This is the worst night of my life. And I'm like,
Oh gosh.
why would you do this?
Oh
You're
no.
capturing the lowest moment in
Oh
someone's life.
yeah. I mean, that has to be rock bottom.
Oh
You
yeah,
go and you've made something you're so proud of, and people
yeah.
just laugh at you.
Well,
Oh
it's like
gosh.
that's like the ending of Ed Wood, where like he makes Plan 9
Yes.
from outer space, and then he's there, and
Yes.
it's this big
Mm.
premiere, and
Uh-huh.
then he gets there, and then everyone's throwing popcorn at the screen. Everyone hates
Yes.
it.
That reminds me. So I was hosting trivia
Hmm.
at a fundraiser for the library,
Okay.
and one of my questions had pictures of, oh, the question was about films shot in black and white.
Oh, okay.
And one of them was the shot of Johnny Depp sitting in the director's chair. There's like
Oh,
a plume of smoke,
oh
camera
yeah,
in the
yeah.
background. I mean, out of 16 teams, I think 3 teams got it right. I was shocked
That's
that
a
no
shame.
one knew that movie.
I
Um,
don't think it's one of Tim Burton's like most popular movies.
no, I mean, I just feel like it was a lot in the zeitgeist because
Was
of the
it?
Martin Landau and
Oh,
because
sure.
he ended up winning the Oscar.
Okay. Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and it was his big return, and everyone was, buzzing about that performance. But
yeah.
um, I asked all of my employees what their favorite movie of all time was, and my friend Byron Smith, his favorite movie is Ed Wood.
Oh, that makes me
Look at
happy.
that!
I love
Look at
that movie.
that! Yeah, what a turnaround. We got our dude with the same name from Breakin' 2, who also loves Ed Wood.
Shout out
My friend
Byron.
Byron, I love Byron, and this is one of my also another favorite thing about Byron. Byron has okay, so we live in Des Moines, Iowa, and Tiny Tim lived in Des Moines,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Iowa
Hmm.
for a chunk of time. And if you don't know who Tiny Tim is, he
Every
was really big back in the 70s and
everybody
did the
knows who.
tiptoe through the tulips. Yeah,
It
he got
that
go
song
ahead.
is in SpongeBob. Everybody
Oh,
knows
is
Tiny
it?
Tim. Yeah.
Oh, okay, well, good. That's good to know. Yeah, he got married on Johnny Carson, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
yeah, his wedding was on Johnny Carson.
Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. Anyway, so my friend Byron, he's the best, and I was asking him something. I can't remember what the prompt was that I was asking him, but he told me that he bought one of Tiny Tim's like leisure suits.
Oh.
After he died, they auctioned off all of his stuff. In fact, when he died in poverty and he was living in like the
Oh.
mission.
Oh.
And so he had all of these old suits from the 70s that he used to wear.
Yeah.
And they were auctioning his stuff off. And my friend Byron bought one and has it in a giant life size shadow box in his house.
That's so weird.
I was like, Byron, did you try it on? He said, well, heck yeah, but now it's in a box. I can't try it on anymore. But what a random thing
That's
to
so
have.
weird.
I know. Byron's 62, so he's
Oh.
older than me. So,
Okay.
he's of a different time.
Sure.
But I adore him very much. And so it kind of makes sense that someone who really liked Tiny Tim also really liked Ed Wood. I feel like similar sensibilities.
I could see that. Tiny
Kind
Tim's
of a
kind
little
of a
bit.
weirdo, and Ed Wood is
Mhm.
like a big group of weirdos.
Right. That's right. That's right. Well, and Tim Burton, he's a quirky dude,
That's true.
much like Tiny Tim. I think your dad saw Tiny Tim one time too at a basketball game.
Oh, was he playing?
There's I don't remember if he was performing during halftime or if he was just doing an event where he was meeting people, but your
Oh,
dad met him. And your dad met Chuck Norris one time too.
these
At
are stories that I need to hear.
yeah, I wish I knew more of that story. Now I can't remember, but I know he met him. And it was at an event. It was another thing that was like an event. Chuck Norris is going to be there, so your dad got to go meet him. I've met Richard Chamberlain, um, and that's a fantastic story. And sometime I will tell you that one.
Maybe if
I
we
saw
watch one
Al
of his
Franken
movies.
on the yes. Oh, yes. We could watch Slipper in the Rose.
Okay.
Absolutely. that is where I fell in love with Richard Chamberlain. I saw Al Franken walking on the street in New York when we went to New York one time. I saw Sinbad on an airplane.
Oh, awesome.
He was in first class and he had a leopard print scarf on. I remember that very clearly.
Wow.
Um, I don't I can't think of anybody else famous I've met. I'm sure I've met other famous people. I just can't think of anybody right now. But I could come up with a list,
Yeah,
I
please.
bet.
For correction, collection, recollection,
Recollection.
correction. Do
I
that
know
next week.
my list of famous people I've met.
Sure.
Okay. I could do that. That would be fun. I don't know that my list will be super, super long, but I would like to share the Richard Chamberlain story with you.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard it?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay. Although I feel like if we're going to watch Slipper in the Rose, I probably should wait to tell you my Richard Chamberlain
Save
story
it.
until we've watched it.
Yeah.
I'm going to save it. And in fact, I'm going to, when I write down Slipper in the Rose on my list, I'm going to tell the Richard Chamberlain story so I don't forget.
Yes. That is a good idea.
Speaking of,
What are we doing next week?
yeah,
Well,
what are you doing?
to be honest, I forgot that it was my choice to pick.
Because you loved Breakin so much, you thought it was yours.
Well, another thing, me being completely honest, I forgot we were doing this today.
Oh no. Until I texted you 20 minutes before.
I
Oh
was
no.
I was actually in the bath. I was
Oh
decompressing.
no.
It was very cold outside today, and I
Yeah.
was out in the snow. We actually, as of us recording this, we got I think 5 inches. We're
Oh
supposed to
no.
get 8. So I
So
think
it's still snowing now?
yes, it is still
Okay.
snowing.
And how
So
did the mail truck do?
not great. I'll tell you that
Mm.
much. And these rich folks, they don't plow anything.
Oh,
I was delivering to a gated community today, and so
okay.
none of the roads were done by the city, so none of them got plowed. It was
Mm-hmm.
like night and day. I did like the first part of my route. It was in a neighborhood, really nice. The thing about Minneapolis is that there's like really, really great like snow removal infrastructure in
Uh-huh.
place. And it was like, oh, this is so easy. I'm gonna have a really nice day. And then as soon as I got to that gated community, 5 inches of snow, this truck would not go.
Oh,
It was
shoot.
terrible. It was very
So what do you
cold.
do? Do you like push through or how do you
I
do that?
slipped and slid around. That was pretty much
Yeah.
what I did. I
Okay.
managed. It probably took twice as long as it normally would. I'll just say
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, that makes
was stressed, and I
yeah.
was in the bath and I was relaxing. And then I got a text and it said, "Are we still good to do the podcast in 20 minutes?" And I said, "Yeah." So then I got out and then I I ate some food and then I was here.
You could
Um,
have waited. I was okay.
it's
I was
fine.
working on my big giant puzzle. So,
It's fine. I
like the
just need
nerd
to
that I am.
I just need to check. Okay. So this next movie isn't on anything, but you can rent it.
Okay.
Um, we're gonna do Raising Arizona.
I have always wanted to see Raising Arizona.
I am
I
excited.
can tell you who's in it. Nicolas Cage is in
He
it,
is in it. Yep.
and John Goodman is in it,
He is.
and Holly Hunter is in it,
Yep.
but I don't know anything about it. So I'm
Okay.
excited.
I am
Okay.
really, really excited. I watched this movie in 2018
Okay.
because my girlfriend at the time absolutely hated it. Wanted me to
Oh.
watch it so that because I think her dad really liked it. And so it
Mm.
was like this in joke that like she hates it and then he loves it. So she was like, "I need you to watch it so you can back me up." I was completely on her dad's side. I'm like, "You are absolutely insane for not liking this movie. It is so much fun."
Ah,
Um,
okay.
but I have not seen it since then, and
All right.
all of the details are completely fuzzy. I basically know nothing. I know that they steal a baby. That's the basic premise.
Okay.
Um, and it's not the first Cohen. Actually, it might be the first Cohen brothers movie. It's a very early Cohen brothers movie.
Mhm.
So I'm very pumped.
Okay. Well, I'm pumped too because that truly is on my list of
All
movies
right.
that I have wanted to watch. And also, that was another one of my trivia questions that
Oh,
very same week that I was hosting. I had a picture of the three of them, which is how I know
Oh,
that the three of them are in it.
yeah.
And I asked people to name the movie. So more people got that one right than Ed would.
Well, sure. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Raising Arizona is more of a cult classic, or it's more of an actual classic than a cult classic, I
Hmm.
guess.
Hmm.
Um, great movie. So
Yeah. Well, this will
I'm
be fun. I
pumped.
haven't seen a Nick Cage movie in a real long time. So that'll
Well,
be a good
it's one of his best.
time.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we're keeping with a cartoony tone. Raising
Perfect.
Arizona is not a serious movie at all.
Well, that kind of helps me decide what we're going to watch the next time, but I'm not going to say yet.
Okay, next time we're gonna do a moody melodrama.
Oh, is that what we're going to do next?
I
I was
don't
going to
know.
stick with the fun and
Oh,
fun
okay.
tone.
I was
Unless
like,
you want to go moody, we
no,
could go
no, no, no.
moody.
I was just
Okay.
saying that, like, oh, that's what you were thinking, where it's like, oh, we did two cartoony movies in a row.
Oh.
Now we need to switch it up. But
I mean, to be honest, we've done pretty light and fluffy all the way through so far.
no, Doctor Strangelove isn't really light and fluffy.
Yeah, and Princess Mononoke, there was some stuff too where there's deeper themes that, if you wanted to delve into them. But
Yeah, so basically what you're saying is that you've
a book,
picked
yeah,
cartoony movies the whole way through, and I've
that is what I'm
been
saying.
and I've been picking the artsy, depressing stuff, the
Well,
stuff
I
that
will
you
say
don't
in
like.
general, that tends to be our mood. Like I like really happy, fluffy sorts of happy things, and you like things that have lots of meaning and depth to them. So,
I
but that
do.
is also like it's good. We're stretching each other. We're
Mm-hmm.
expanding our horizons. It's good.
Yes, it is
So,
good.
but this one will be fun. I'm excited about it.
Me too. So check back
Yeah.
next week. Raising Arizona, Coen Brothers classic. If you like this podcast, we have tons of other episodes, and by tons I mean three. Three. Yes, we have three other episodes that we've done.
Yes.
Doctor Strangelove. If you, for some reason, watch this one and didn't watch our review of the first Breakin, we did do that. So
And
check
you're
that
missing
out.
out.
Yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
had a very good conversation about Breakin 1. So
Yeah.
check that out. Um, Otherwise, we did Princess Mononoke and Doctor Strangelove. Both of those were pretty good, I think. Princess Mononoke,
Mhm.
we didn't have much to say besides that
I
you were
don't
grossed.
know. I mean, I went back and listened to it. We talked about more than what I thought we did.
Okay.
I don't know. I felt like when I went back and listened to it, it was, oh, we had a good
We had
amount of
we had more,
conversation
yeah.
there.
I think it filled a
Uh,
full half an hour. But
I
for
I think
context,
it was
we
like
talked
40 minutes
was
something.
it 40?
It was kind of long. Yeah.
For context, we did talk for Breakin' 2 for an hour 10. So, I
Oh.
just want to throw that out there that we had an hour and a half more stuff to say about
I need
Breakin'.
to, here's the other part to be completely transparent. I was struggling to stay awake that day. That
Mm.
makes a huge difference for me. So I feel like if I had been fully alert and I was drinking a hyper, which is an energy drink. Like I was doing all the things I should. I got up during the middle to walk around. I went and got food because I was like, well, if I'm sleepy, maybe if I eat, then I won't. If I'm snacking, I won't fall asleep. I was struggling to stay awake, so I don't know that I got as much out of it.
Mm.
The conversation would have been much better, I'm sure, if I had was not struggling the eye thing, like doing the head nod
It's
situation.
fine. It's
So
fine.
I apologize about that, but I still felt like we had a good
We
conversation.
did have a good conversation.
But it probably wasn't as deep as we would have normally, maybe. Not
No.
that we're known for having deep conversations either. I'm over here talking about fashion trends. But I don't care. That's a big part of those movies.
Yeah. Well, no, you got to
It's so
talk about it.
fun. It's so fun. Oh, I have to tell you, I've been watching Night Court.
Nice.
Um, I know the original. And as I'm watching it, I realized I don't think I ever finished it. I got to a certain point where these are all brand new to me at this point. So that was kind
Oh.
of fun to have watched it from beginning to end. And then I was at a loss. What am I going to watch? And so last night I got on Netflix and A Different World with Lisa Bonet was on there, which Bill Cosby is a scuzz. I know that he's a scuzz.
Okay.
And this is an offshoot of The Cosby Show,
Okay.
focusing on his daughter, Lisa Bonet. Do you know who Lisa Bonet is?
No.
She was married to Lenny Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz is her daughter.
Oh,
with
okay.
Lenny Kravitz.
Gotcha.
And Lisa Bonet, when she was on the Cosby Show, I have all these stupid little tangents, but I don't care. I'm going to share it with you.
Fine.
It was very spicy because somehow some nude pictures of her showed up,
Oh.
and she was playing his teenage daughter. And I
Oh.
remember there being like such an outcry about it. Um,
Yeah. Wait, she
uh,
was underage at the time?
well, I don't know. Now I need to go back and look. Okay, this could be recollection correction corner. I will
Okay.
I will look into that.
Yeah,
But
please.
anyway, it was very controversial at the time, and and so she kind of left the show for a bit.
Oh.
And then they ended up sending her off to college. And so they did the spinoff at Spelman College, which is a historically black college or university, and HBCU is what they call this.
Sure.
And so that's Spelman, Hillman. They called it Hillman. Anyway, uh, so I loved the show. I mean, I loved it when I was younger. I loved it. And I'm watching it. It's the first season. And Sinbad, which I remembered he was on it, he plays like the head of the men's dorm and also her track coach.
Oh.
So like skinny young Sinbad was on there. And then Marissa Tomei plays her roommate,
Oh,
which I
nice.
did not remember that. I was like, oh my gosh, Marissa Tomei. I didn't remember her being on this. That was so fun. Anyway,
So
it's like going back in time. The guy who played, Kadeem Hardison is his name. I cannot think of what his name was on the show, but he popularized the round glasses that had glasses, and then you'd flip up the lenses, and
oh.
they were sunglasses and glasses like this.
Yeah.
Dwayne was his name. Anyway, starting right from the beginning. First season, there he is with those sunglasses. And that was such a cool thing. At the time, everybody's like, oh my gosh, Dwayne Wade glasses. Dwayne Wade?
Dwayne Wade's a basketball player.
That can't be right then. I swear it's Dwayne, though.
It's
Jeez.
it's probably Dwayne. I think
Oh
Dwayne
my
Wade's a
gosh. Okay.
basketball
You're
player.
gonna have to sit here. That's kind of what I was thinking too. So
But you don't
but
know
then I was like, you're
basketball.
so right. I know you're right. I don't.
I don't know
Okay, I
basketball
have to
either.
look this up. Well, you know basketball?
No, I don't know basketball either.
Oh, I thought you said, I know basketball. I was like, you do? When did you know about basketball? Okay, Kadeem Hardison, Dwayne Wayne.
Oh, okay.
I was so close. Yeah, his name was Dwayne Wayne.
That,
And
that's a
um
really bad name.
and
Dwayne
even
Wayne.
Dwayne Wayne.
That-
And his character was just, whatever. But I know that this is a visual medium for some and not for others, but there he is
oh yeah.
with those sunglasses. Oh man, I loved him. Anyway, so I started watching that. I got halfway through the first season and it's very fun until Bill Cosby gets on there
Mm.
because she's calling home. I'm like, get
Oh.
him off the screen. I do not want to see him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you
Uh,
knew what you were getting into.
I know. I mean, he doesn't come on very often. I think as, they're first starting the spinoff, of
Sure.
course, they're going to tie back to the original. Um, but yeah, it's like the first time I've really seen him in anything since all that stuff went down. It's really hard because I was young at the time and I had such fond feelings for him. I used to see him on Captain Kangaroo
Oh
and,
yeah.
Fat Albert, and like I really loved him as a kid. And then to have that come out, it was so disappointing. And so then to go back and watch something that I loved so much that I was like, oh look, it's Mr. Huxtable, and I had such warm fuzzies. And then I was like, oh, you're
Yep.
a
Yep.
ugh. Anyway, okay. That's all I have to say about that. I will look up Lisa Bonet and tell you
Okay.
about tell you about the nudie scandal. It's like Vanessa Williams when she was Miss America. Did you know that whole situation?
No.
Miss America. Do you know who Vanessa Williams is?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay, Vanessa Williams. Vanessa Williams was on Ugly Betty.
Okay.
She's an actress, but she was also a singer. But
Okay.
her very first exposure into show business was she was the first Black Miss America.
Mm. Okay.
And I remember watching that one and just being like, oh, she's just so beautiful. Well, she did play a Playboy shoot or a penthouse shoot or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they took her crown from her.
Oh,
Like she
what?
was dethroned. So the first Black Miss America was dethroned because she had taken photos years and years and years ago. Um, and yeah, they took her crown.
That's messed up.
But she can laugh in their face because she ended up being really famous and she married Rick Fox, who's a basketball
Oh,
player.
shout out Rick Fox.
Yeah, a basketball player, and she was in Ugly Betty, and she recorded the song "The Colors of the Wind" from Pocahontas. And did the radio
Oh,
version, and so that was like a big hit. And she sang the song "Save the Best for Last," which was also a huge hit on the radio. And then she was on Ugly Betty, and she periodically will show up in different movies and stuff. So she got the last laugh.
oh, sure.
But at the time, everyone was so excited about a Black Miss America. Well, some people were very
Yeah,
excited about a Black Miss America, and then to have her lose her crown was really sad and
it is
disappointing. And the
sad.
thing is that, I mean, I feel that had that been a white person, what would have happened would have been very different than what happened to her. I feel like
Well,
they were
yeah.
pretty harsh with her.
Yeah.
Um,
They wouldn't have taken the crown, but also that's a women thing, definitely. Like Burt
yes.
Reynolds he had like the centerfold. Was it
Oh
Burt
heck yeah,
Reynolds?
and Playgirl. Yeah,
Yeah,
Playgirl.
yeah,
He was in Playgirl.
and
Oh,
like
so many
and
celebrities.
like people
Uh,
remember that like fondly, like oh yeah, remember Burt Reynolds? That was awesome. And it's like
my grandma had that.
yeah, and it's like
I'm
she
pretty
was
sure
a
I saw that at
super
some point.
conservative lady.
Grandma, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But she could appreciate a man, especially with a mustache. She likes Tom Selleck and she likes Burt Reynolds. She has a type.
Yes.
And I remember her having that when I was a kid. I remember seeing it at some point, maybe not the inside, but at least him.
Well, I
And
don't think isn't it like they cover the junk. It's just like,
no,
oh,
no, I
you
think it
see
was
it?
hmm
I don't remember. I think I thought I saw the picture and I don't remember seeing it.
I think, I mean, he did a whole spread.
Oh, maybe I've
Uh,
just seen the one picture then.
yeah, it was like
It's a
that was
whole
a big
thing.
deal. I remember that.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember
so
that.
I'm looking for her. Yeah, Rick Fox. She was married to Rick Fox. I was trying to find what year she won Miss America. Oh, here. She won in 1984. Oh my gosh,
Everything's in 1984.
everything we're doing today is just fitting together.
Yeah.
Ed Wood, Raising Arizona.
Yeah. Very
My friend
Orwellian.
Byron. Yeah, 1984. Let's see. She was crowned in 1984. Oh, I was trying to see like she resigned. She was forced to resign over the unauthorized publication of nude photographs.
Then
Yeah.
that doesn't. If it was unauthorized, it wasn't even her choice, and she had to resign.
Yeah, she had to resign.
That's
Yeah,
messed up.
she had nude pics and somebody put them out there and then she had to resign. Yeah, it
That's
was a sad situation.
that is a
But
sad
she was
situation.
beautiful. You'll have to look her up because she's a very stunning woman. And she
Okay.
had a big part on Ugly Betty. She was like the main boss person, the
Oh,
owner of the place where Ugly Betty worked.
nice. Well,
Anyway, okay.
I'm
I'm
glad things worked out in the end.
It did work out for her. It did work out for her. She was very successful and probably had a more successful career because of the notoriety of that situation.
Oh, probably.
Um,
Yeah.
and so, it did end up, but how humiliating and embarrassing, especially if it was something where it wasn't with your consent.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
just kind of,
That's like the
that's,
Pam Anderson thing.
yes. Yeah. Well, and wasn't the same true with Kim Kardashian?
Yeah,
Was
with
she aware of the sex tape?
well, I mean, she was aware when they were filming it, but it was
Right.
like I don't think she knew that it was gonna like
Yeah.
come out.
Right. Yeah. That's bad.
It is bad. All that's
Oh,
bad.
it is very bad.
Anyways, if you like what I do, you should check out the other things that I do, like the Boy Time podcast. Previously mentioned, we did do a Simeon summer. I'm gonna have to
Yes.
think about what I'm gonna be doing this summer.
Mm.
Not that it's super close, but it's closer than it was 6 months ago.
Hmm.
So very excited to bring that back.
I'm trying to think of something for you, but I don't know. Maybe I'll ponder on it and maybe I'll come up with the best
Well,
idea.
at the very least, I can do every which way you can.
You could do yes. Were there only two of those?
I think so.
Oh.
I don't know why
You could
they'd
do
make more
something
than
where you do
two.
the originals and then the remakes. So
Mm.
we harken back to our the Rock conversation. You could do
Sure.
the original, Escape to Witch Mountain, Returned in Witch Mountain, and then you could watch the new ones, or Jumanji, original and new. You
That's
could do a
true.
whole series on just Dwayne the Rock in like remakes. Good grief, done a lot of
I
remakes.
don't want to watch all those. Those are all trash. The Rock is one of the most like insanely charismatic people. And like every time he's on screen, I feel like he gives a good performance, but he does not know how to pick a project. He is always in the worst movies ever.
Yeah,
Like,
he does a lot of kid family things, which I
yeah,
like that.
he
I
does,
like
but he
like the
also,
Moana and
yeah, he
you
does
know.
that, but then he also does like a lot of trash. Like, like he was in like Rampage and like the Fast and
Oh,
Furious movies. And I'm like, you're like, The Rock, I think he has the capability to be a genuinely pretty good actor if
mm-hmm,
given the right role. But
mm-hmm.
man, I don't. His agent is terrible. It's like we need, and that maybe that's not the case because he's making money, tons of
He
money.
is.
So maybe he
I feel
doesn't
like
need to. But
I feel like his charisma. I feel like he really shines in comedy.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like I get that he has the big body and he could do action and stuff,
yeah.
but I feel like he's got really good comedic timing. And to be honest, there are not very many comedies being made now.
Mm-mm.
So if you want to do something funny, you have to do a kids movie. I mean, really, that's feels kind of like where you're going to be if you're a funny person,
Yeah,
because there just is not very much in that area anymore.
yeah.
And I mean, action movies are fine. They all run together for me. There's nothing that's particularly remarkable about them, especially when you're talking about ones that are, it's
Generic.
one word, it's brr.
Uh huh.
But the kid movies is where somebody with a lot of charisma could shine,
That's true.
I feel.
But
Uh,
you compare that to Dave Batista.
yeah.
Like, I think starting off, Dave Batista was in like bad movies like Stuber. He was in like really bad generic action movies, but now like he's making really interesting choices where it's
Mm,
like he seems to be taking genuine risks and like he
mhm.
lost all the muscle. Like he was just like that he doesn't want that to be part of his identity anymore. He wants to be like a
Mhm.
genuine actor. I'm like, I respect Dave Batista.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the other part with The Rock. He's so huge. Like he's
Yeah,
going to be limited by that because
that's
you can't
true.
really get by with this dude who's an accountant office building or I
Yeah.
mean, it's possible, but how believable.
It's
Same thing with
like
Arnold
I
Schwarzenegger.
was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
in
he did Kindergarten Cop. But he was an undercover
right.
police officer or
Or
whatever.
like what's the one True Lies? Where
True
he's
Lies.
like
Yeah.
he's playing a salesman. I think Total Recall
Hmm.
in the book and in the original script, it was just gonna be an office drone. But as
Oh,
soon
really?
as you hire Arnold Schwarzenegger, you make him a construction worker because that's the only thing that makes sense with that body.
I know. It is very limiting. I think of the other things he's been in. He's always been a soldier. You've got
Hmm.
Predator, you've got well,
Commando.
Conan the Barbarian, you
Yeah.
know. He was in stuff that played to his body, but also
Terminator.
his English wasn't very good when he first started. So
Right.
it couldn't be anything that required I would imagine trying to speak English when it's your second language and then acting, and that's a lot for one person's brain to kind
Well, I
of
mean,
do.
have you seen, I don't know if you've seen it, but are you aware of his first movie, Hercules in New York?
No.
He's dubbed.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah. And
Oh,
it's like a super, it's really bad ADR too. Like the
oh.
lips don't match at all. But it was like, I think they gave him lines and it was like, you can't understand anything. Like it was like a consequence like born of necessity, where it was like,
Mm,
we can't release this as it was
mm,
recorded. And then eventually he got better. But yeah, he was just like the heavy. In Terminator, he like barely says anything.
no, he doesn't say a whole lot.
No.
Uh, in a lot of those, I feel like he kinda once he starts doing twins and,
Yeah.
more comedy sort of things, less action, more comedy that requires a little more dialogue, I think,
Yeah.
was when he was really starting to
Because
have
he's
some
funny. He's a
real
funny
success.
guy.
He's very funny. He's very charismatic.
Yeah.
I oh, did we hear him on Conan or something? And he
Yeah.
was just hilarious.
He
Yeah.
was talking about like animals that he had in his house and stuff.
Yeah.
A
I
donkey? Does he have a
remember that.
donkey?
Maybe. I mean, maybe.
That sounds
That sounds,
familiar.
yeah, I just think it was so surprising to me. Like you see the charisma on the
Yeah.
screen, but sometimes you don't know what they're like in real life. And then you hear an interview and it's like, wow, you're funny. I did not know you were so funny.
Like
Yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Oh, that's my favorite Conan. I think
He's
it's
the
my favorite
best.
Conan ever was Harrison Ford on there.
That would
You
make
started
sense.
shrinking yet?
The other things that I do is Boy Time, which is a music channel that I do with my friend Babby. Our review or our reaction to the new Weekend album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, is going to be coming out soon. I'm very excited for that video to come out. Yeah, I still won't say my thoughts on it because it
Okay.
hasn't come out yet. But
Mhm.
yeah, that video is going to be coming out. And then I think we're actually going to be taking a little bit of a break because
Mm.
Babby had his wisdom teeth out.
Oh
So
boy.
yeah, won't be. We're gonna be. I guess I just plugged Boy Time podcast and Boy Time, and for right now, we're gonna be on a little bit of a hiatus.
Well,
But
except you have your weekend video coming, right?
yeah, the weekend video is coming, and then we have one more in the chamber. So I don't actually know if like Boy Time will like stop
Mm.
like uploading videos. It probably won't, but
Okay.
we kind of had some stock piled up, so
Mm-hmm.
kind of worked out. But yeah, those are the two other things that I do. That's all that we have to plug
I
because
do
you don't
nothing
do
else.
anything else.
I'm a librarian. However, I do want to say something that I learned an interesting statistic today
Okay.
that 36% of all books that were banned in the United States last year were banned in the state of Iowa. 36% of all, I'm going to repeat that.
Okay.
36% of all banned books in the US last year
Sure.
were banned in the state of Iowa. That is disappointing. And I just want to say go out and read a banned book. It is Black History Month. Go out and read some Black authors, read about
Yeah.
Black history, pick up some fiction, some music, whatever. Like support Black artists and creatives. I think it's a good thing to do all the
Absolutely.
time, but especially this month. That
Yeah.
is my little PSA for the week. And don't ban books, it's bad.
Well, I'm sure we have a lot of Congress people and senators
Yeah.
that watch our podcast. So hopefully that message will come through loud and clear.
Yes,
Um,
I think so. I have been emailing and calling, so
oh, all right. Well,
activist mamas come out.
yeah. Well, hey, it's good. That's good
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, I like The Hate You Give. It's a good book.
Oh, that's a fantastic book.
Yeah.
Angie Thomas is a wonderful person. Yeah, like her
Yes.
a lot.
Very, very
Good. I'm
good
glad
book.
you like that.
I like
Yeah.
that one. Another banned book that I love is Mouse.
Oh,
But that
graphic
doesn't have
novel.
anything to do with Black History Month.
It
That's
does
a
not.
Holocaust book.
That's right. But also, any sort of banned book that you read is good. It helps authors out.
That's
It
true.
For my book club this year, last year actually, I decided I was going to pick a banned book because I felt it was important to do.
Sure.
And my friends were like, ugh, I don't want to read a banned book. It's going to be not that they have, I mean, they're not pro banned books. This is my book club for heaven's sakes.
Right.
However, they were like, well, there's going to be something in there that's going to be really controversial. And they finished it and they were like, I don't get it. Why is this banned? And I'm like, that's my
There's a gay
point.
person in it.
It's not a gay person, it's a kid who masturbates, and
Oh.
we don't want teenagers to know about that. Come on,
Teenager. Yeah.
give me a break. So yeah, that was it. There was like I think two scenes where it's mentioned, and yeah, it's banned for that reason. The name of the book is the absolutely true diary of a part-time Indian, about a Native
Yeah.
American kid. Yeah, really good, really good book. But so just to say, like, if you have a preconceived idea about what a banned book is or what kind of content is in it, just know that they're banning books for
Nothing.
very illegitimate reasons. So go out and get a banned book, read a book by a Black author, watch TV, listen to music, do all the things to support
Yeah.
of Black artists, businesses, etc. this month.
Yes. Yes. And if you have
Go
not
see.
seen the film Do the Right Thing or Moonlight or Boys in the
Amber.
Hood,
Mm,
uh, Black Klansman, any
Black, yeah.
Spike Lee movie, you know,
Mhm.
those are good ones. Those are my
Yeah.
Black History Month recommendations. Those are so
Malcolm X.
basics. Oh, Malcolm
Malcolm X.
X. That's a
So
good.
good. Selma. Maybe I need to
Selma's a
pick.
great one.
Have you seen Selma?
Yes,
You did?
we watched it together.
We did.
We did.
Okay. I was going to suggest that one, but now I'm not. I didn't remember that we watched it together.
We
That
can
was so good.
do movies that we've seen before.
Uh, that's true. Maybe I'll try to find something for Black History. See if I can find something good. We'll
That
see.
sounds like a great idea.
Okay. Okay. Because that's not what I was going to pick originally. But I feel like this might be a good time to do it.
I
And
think
let me
so.
also say this. I'm going to say this. I'm sorry for getting all like, you know, anti book banning here at the end. However,
Hey,
so at the library, we do displays every month, and it is Black History Month, like I said. And we were trying to decide what we were going to put up in the kids' area for Black History Month. And someone said, "Oh, none of those books got checked out last year, so I wasn't going to do it this year." And I
oh,
said, "No, we're going to do it this year because the students in the state of Iowa will not have access to these materials if we don't provide it, if we don't highlight it. So whether it gets checked out or not, I want it in front of their faces."
yeah.
So we went ahead and did a Black History Month display. I don't know how it's been circulating and if people have been taking things off of it, but
Well,
it was a good reminder to me that like throughout the year there are months that focus on all sorts of people groups and their history.
sure.
It's just really important to do that all the time, but especially on those months to try to make people aware of the amazing art that's created. And
Well, and even if they aren't getting circulated, I
hmm
mean, you have a lot of kids going to the
yeah,
library because you're right next to the school there.
yeah,
And like, even if they aren't checking stuff out, if they identify with those groups, they're gonna feel
hmm
more seen and welcome in a place like that.
yes,
So it's like it's worth it to have these displays up to just to be like, yo,
hmm
everybody's welcome here. This is like
right.
a safe space for everybody.
And I think specifically when we're talking about Black history, so
Oh
we
yeah,
have a lot of diversity in our picture books, like in our collection in general. Our collection manager is amazing about getting about representation and making sure we have picture books that with kids that have all sorts of abilities and you know
sure.
whatever, all of that kind of stuff. But specifically, history in the state of Iowa is really
Yes.
being attacked right now, and so truly, Black history is not going to be something that's going to be taught as much in schools if the government has any say about it.
Yeah.
So understanding that they will not know about MLK or Malcolm X or,
Oh,
any of these sort of Rosa Parks and all of
nobody
the
nobody knows about
history.
Malcolm X already.
Yeah, the bus boycotts, John Lewis. Like there's so
Sure.
many, Frederick Douglass, so many amazing people. Um, that if they're not going to learn that at school, it's still important people learn it, see the faces, know the
Yeah.
history. So anyway, I just want to encourage if there are any other librarians out there, like it's okay to push back on this stuff. And in fact, we should be doing that
Yeah.
because that's our job is to make sure people have access to all sorts of information, regardless of what's being banned or not banned in schools. So,
Yes. Yeah. That's a good
so
message to end this podcast on, I
yes,
think.
I think so too. All right, I'll find a good one for next week. And or for the next week. And Raising Arizona. Here we go. All right, I'm excited.
Me too.
All right, support your local library. Call your mom.
Bye.
Bye.